Hi, welcome to my political show Behind the Scene. It's about Sri Lankan politics and what happens. And now before starting the show on the latest episode, I want to hit the like button and subscribe to my show. Now let's start. Now today I'm going to talk about a major fact, what the government should be now doing to address traffic in the city. Sri Lanka is one of the biggest issue of traffic on the city, as there is no electric trains or any other transportation option in the city which should reduce traffic, and that's something to consider here. So now I'm going to say which is the best country to work with when it comes for things like electric trains. So now let's start. Now Sri Lanka actually, for many years, many old political leaders inspired and thought about prohibiting electric trains in action in Sri Lanka, trying to make traffic less in Sri Lanka. But of course, it never worked out. We often settled for the more easy option, the bridges, which solves traffic for a little bit once, it just stacks up and does it other way around. Something to consider here. But electric trains and these things are the prime requirements in a city like Colombo, because city people don't always need to drive their cars. They can use their electric trains. Now, Sri Lanka as a country has to be, can't do on their own, so there has to be a collaboration between two countries. Now Sri Lanka has three choices: China, Japan, or maybe Germany, the three fine countries to work with. But every country has complications if you work with them. See, everything has politics, and even on these proposals like electric trains, we can't get them because there are geopolitical crises. Let's begin with China. If we work with China aggressively on these sort of things, then our stand in the international community weakens a bit, considering the United States is putting literally war against China. So it doesn't exactly work in its favor, which it does not. That would end against not our favor, because if we do with China, then the US is going to be pretty disappointed in us. If we work with Japan, our old Asian diplomatic relators, then that might be a little bit better. But again, I'm not so sure, because the current government has been backlogging a bit on the Japanese recently. As a result, I do not see we are working with the Japanese on this. Germany, it's off the table, because it doesn't matter how good the current government been, the international standing of the Sri Lankan government is not being so, let's say, liked. As a result, countries like Germany would not want to work with Sri Lanka. So the question is three countries, but the best countries might not want to work. So the question is, who's the best country among all this? Look, I would say China, but I'm going to say work with Japan on this. Japan is neutral as you can get in Asia, and they are much more trustworthy and reliable than the Chinese. But of course, there's one thing the Chinese offer, and China has a track record of working in Sri Lanka. So something that Japan doesn't often in the near history, the recent history, something to consider. But Japan is a much more trustworthy partner on projects like electric trains, because Japanese are experts at it. Japan, they are experts. I mean, think Tokyo, all those cities, traffic is significantly less because of trains, electric trains, etc. In Sri Lanka, these things can reduce traffic gravely and reduce air pollution by a significant margin. So climate change can be addressed within the city itself. Of course, these projects have to be well done, because unlike the highway, which is a bit expensive for some, because most of the time the highways can be expensive for some. If the electric trains are built, they should be like normal public transport. That's the key. You can't make it more expensive than usual and actually able to go in there. And the government must also build them in a short period of time. You can't take 5-10 years to do these projects, because if you take that long, these projects never happen. And that's the reality. So, as I said, the geopolitical battles and what the government now should be doing. I don't keep these things wrong, because these are very simple things too. It's very logical, really honest. The government must work with Japan. Japan is a reliable ally, a reliable country to work with. China, while it's a long-term relationship, China can be a little bit scary on the circumstances, because look, they're building port city. So I mean, we don't want to keep the control of electric trains for them. So safe to say, and the Japanese people know these electric trains because they use them, they build them, they install them in their country, and it means they are experts at it. It's rather better to work with the experts than anything else. Of course, it's good to work with Germany, but let's be clear, how unlikely is that we're going to work with the Germans? So I guess working with Asia is the way to go for us. Working with Asia, between two Asian countries together makes a great unification in Asia, which is the key. And these sort of projects should make Sri Lanka a very modern metropolitan, especially capital like Colombo. It will be a great metropolitan, traffic is less air pollution, and certainly does the job right. And that's key. Of course, there are complications like the current trains might complain about it, but the government, as we saw, have been able to keep these things in check. So let's hope we do. So before I end of the video, I want to say hit the like button and subscribe to my show. Thank you very much.